Hello and welcome to Alice in Egypt, the library part 3. So, it's sometime after lunch and you have made an appointment to meet the book merchant about a list of books that you have found in the room of Heinz when you were basically investigating what was going on there. And essentially, so you're going to talk to Karim al-Maliki because you found a list of 10 books, 6 of which you know are already missing. One of which you did find. It's a collection of Shakespeare's sonnets, and 3 more that have gone missing, apparently as well, from the library of the late Major Thompson. And the book that you are particularly interested in is called Liber sine caput, which means book without a head. And as you have pointed out, books don't have heads, they have spines.
Yep.
And you have decided that you would like to find out from Karim al-Maliki if this book may be something that he bound for the late Major, because he did do bookbinding for him. And you also thoroughly investigated if there was anything wrong with the book that you did find. So you basically checked if there was something glued between the front, or onto the book cover and then covered with something else, or somebody put something down its spine. But to no avail. It seems to be not the best copy. It's a well-loved copy of Shakespeare's sonnets, and the name of his wife is written down in at least one place, Marjorie, because that's a terribly lovely love sonnet that was written by Shakespeare, and apparently it reminded him of his wife. So, you've made an arrangement, I think, to meet him. Was it 3:00 or something? Anyway, after lunch.
Yep.
And you're going to get a driver to drive you there. And do you want to do anything, or shall we just move there?
We can just move there.
Okay, so you have yourselves driven into town and dropped off at the booksellers.
Yeah, and we would ask, as usual, the driver to stay because it's the dodgy end of town.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And of course, you also decided that you are going to stop by some of the food shops because you're going to get some fish or meat in the evening, and of course that needs to be bought fresh.
Yep.
So you're going to do this on the way back. Yes. Yeah, you're right. It's in the Fagala, so that's the creepy part of town, and you go into the bookshop. It's open, and Mr. al-Maliki is sitting behind his desk, and as you approach, he gets up and he greets you and he offers you tea.
As always, I will say yes, thank you.
And he asks you to sit down, please.
We will do so.
So what is it that I can do for you?
I was curious if, when you hear the title Book Without a Head, rings any bell.
Book without a head. That is a strange expression. Does it mean it does not have a cover?
I'm not sure. It might be that it just has no title.
Ah. That could be it.
It could be it, but the question is if this kind of book ran through your shop. If you remember either book really called Book Without a Head, which is a weird title, or a book without a title. Just being curious.
Well, we do have books that do not have titles because we bind loose leaves together. Then it is usually the customer that names the book. But I cannot remember anybody calling a book without a head and asking me to create such a thing.
Okay. You bound a few different scrolls and copies for the Major, didn't you?
Yes, I did indeed. I did look it up. If I go back just a year, in the last 18 months, we have created 6 books for him.
Hmm. So nothing there. Sadly so.
That depends. What do you know about this book?
Not much to anything. I only know it's listed as book without a head. We don't know what it's about and how it looks.
Well, I mean, the one thing that I do remember, because the other books were really books that did have titles, he named them and he had it engraved. Or should I say, is it emblazoned onto the leather covers? But there was one that he didn't. So maybe that's your book without a head. It is written in Greek.
That might be the one. And that was loose scrolls and papers that you put together?
This was interesting because usually he comes to my place, he looks at things and then has them bound. This time around he came with papers. That was new. And he said, take these and bind them for me. They looked rather old.
That might be the one book that we are looking for, yes. It kind of fits to what we think. Greek. So it's a question if he even found it here or if we got it from someone else. Well, not at your store as we know, but if we found it here.
Well, the Greek heritage is lost.
Yeah.
But we still find Greek writing. Would you be surprised if I told you that some of the greatest works of Greek provenance have been found on the scraps of mummy bindings?
That is surprising. I knew that
Yes.
the Greeks were around here in the past, but...
Well, the Library of Alexandria. Well, what happened, I should say, is that in order to mummify, you need to wrap the body. And wrapping was done quite often in how do you say, bindings made from papyrus, no?
Mm-hmm.
And when unwrapping some of those mummies, it was found that they contained writing on the inside. And for example, the works of the great poetess Sappho are mostly found only on the linings of mummies these days. No extant book of hers has ever been found. So what we know of her work is completely and utterly down to mentionings in Greek primers for Greek scholars in Byzantium, as well as old, very, very, very old books on how to write properly and how to write artistically back in the ancient times of the 5th century BC, what you call classical Greek. They mentioned her as the 10th muse, and in order to explain how well she wrote, they quoted from her work. But we haven't got her own work, we just have quotations and mummy scraps. I find that highly interesting. That the work of the arguably greatest poet since Homer is only available in scraps. But that does not help you, because the one thing I can tell you is that these were not scraps from mummies. Those were not even papyrus, they were vellum, which is very rare. I did not ask where he found them. That would have been inappropriate. But I can tell you it would be very valuable. Even just the age and the material alone.
That is unusual. Papyrus should be the one most used by everyone.
But it's also the one that weathers worst.
True.
Papyrus does not last long, but vellum does.
But that already helped us at least to give an idea on what it could be. At least a little bit.
It could be your book without a head, because it certainly did not have a title. Maybe he emblazoned it himself, or he did something to the leather because it was leather bound. But he certainly did not tell me what it was.
Then, well, we at least have an idea what to look for and have a closer look if it's what we think we are looking for. Vellum. That is a real thing. Well, thank you so much for your help so far.
Not at all. I don't think I have been of much help, but please finish your tea. Is it sweet enough?
It is perfect. And Alice will give a big, very well-meant smile to him. And she's really thankful for the help he's giving. So that gives us the option. She will look over to Dottie.
She looks back to you.
And I think at least we have what we needed initially. As I said, I will definitely come back to look for more books, or maybe get something bound. I'm still not sure. Because the leather work that you do, it looks really, really pretty.
He gives you a wide smile. We take great pride. I take great pride in my work.
You should so, because it looks really, really well made, with a lot of love to the art. And I think they would drink up the tea, and then they would say their thanks to Karim, and then go out for the driver and go for the market.
Okay, so the driver has been waiting. Of course, you asked him to. He takes you to the market. Dottie does her thing, where somebody who doesn't speak Arabic does the best haggling you've ever seen. She knows her foodstuffs, and basically she's looking at the stuff that's there. Let's see what she gets. 19. You get to choose. Would you like fish or meat?
I think meat this time.
Okay, considering that a 19 is a really, really good roll for her luck, she provides. She gets really. She gets a rarity. She gets beef.
Ooh.
Yeah. And let's see how she does. If she manages to, she does an appraise roll. Let's try something different this time around. And on a and she's gonna spend 2 luck to make this a success, because she's 25 and she has 27 rolls, so she's gonna spend some luck. Tick, and then she decides what she would like to pay for it, what it's worth, and then she does. Do we have haggle or something? No, you don't actually, do you? It doesn't exist in this game.
Not sure. Let's see. Don't strive. Isn't it something like fast talk? Would that be haggling?
We can try. She has 0.5. She's got a base chance. Let's see.
I think that's the one.
On a 19!
Closest. Wow.
Wow, but she doesn't pass. She would have to spend 14 luck to make this work. So she's gonna pay more than it's worth, and she knows it. So she's a bit, but still, it's a nice sirloin steak. And then you go back to the hotel?
Yep.
So she does the usual. She puts it in the ice box immediately, because it needs to be.
Although I think we would. It's the afternoon, right?
I would say it's around 4 o'clock now.
I would drop Dottie at the hotel, but I would tell the driver that, or basically that we will just drop Dottie so she can bring the food and everything over, and I will tell Dottie that I will just quickly make a stop at Clarice's place just to see if, pointing out to Greek and so on, if we can find what we are looking for.
Good point. Good. So you arrive at Clarice's.
Yeah.
You knock on the door.
Yep.
Heinz opens. Madam.
Good afternoon. Is Clarice in?
Yes, the young lady is in.
Would you mind?
If you would follow me to the
Yes,
salon, and I
thank
will
you.
announce you.
Thank you.
And he takes you to the salon.
Mm-hmm.
He asks you to sit
I
down,
will.
and then he walks out.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of minutes later, Clarice comes in. She is wearing an apron, and it seems like she has maybe been doing some gardening because you can see some earth
Yeah.
on her, and she's like dusting herself off. And she says, "Alice, I did not really expect to see you here. What can I do for you?"
It was quite spontaneous. She would just look around if Heinz is nearby.
No, but let's see if she notices that you're looking. On a 38, she does, because we're just going to say
Yeah.
that she has a 50% chance. She closes the door to the salon and says, "Do sit down again." And she sits down next to you. Said, "You can talk
Yeah.
quietly."
As I said, I did some more investigation on the books on the list that we found. And we had this weird book without head on the list, if you remember.
Yeah, we did.
The book shop man, my English is not there today.
Bookmaker.
Bookmaker.
No, he isn't book merchant. He's not a bookkeeper.
He's a
not at all.
merchant, and also
book merchant, yeah.
well, he bound books for your father, and usually all the books were given a title by your father, but he bound one that did not get a title. So it's really the question of book without head is exactly that, because it has no title, no heading, nothing. It was a collection of old Greek papers on vellum, not papyrus, and your father brought them to him. Usually he bought it at the merchant, and then they decided that they would bound them together. This time your father came with the papers, and it was Greek, and it was old, and the merchant said that at least vellum is quite rare around here, which I get, it should be quite rare, but he doesn't know exactly what was in there. Does that ring a bell? Or should we have another look if we can find it somewhere?
I actually have spent some time in the library looking for. The problem is he's got so many, and if it doesn't have a title, I don't know where he would have put it. The thing is, he did come back one day from Alexandria, and he was very excited. And he had been, well, Bennu had been driving him, and they had come back with books. But he was extremely excited. He just said that he'd found some nice books. But he was more than like, oh, I found some books. It was more like, and I do recall that he went to Karim al-Maliki's place the very next day. And so do you think that he may have found something in Alexandria that he brought back and then had bound?
Probably, maybe. The question is if it's gone or if it's still somewhere in the library.
You see, the thing is, I don't know if he ever picked anything up, because afterwards he never said anything, and I didn't see him come back with anything. I mean, if he'd had a book bound, it would have taken a couple of days anyway. So
he picked it up based on what we heard from the book merchant.
That doesn't mean that I would have seen it necessarily, because I'm not always in the house when he's in, and if he'd gone into town and then come back, I might not have noticed.
Would it help if Dottie and I come back maybe tomorrow, another day, whenever it fits for you, and we spend some time in the library and help searching? Because as you said, it's a big amount, and since it has no title, we have no idea where it could be stashed.
Okay, that, of course, if you really want to spend time in the library, because that's going to be a chore, Alice, don't get me wrong.
You haven't met Dottie and me, right? We love books.
And I have met you not in that regard, though.
It might lead to us maybe picking out if we find anything in English language. That's a question, but I've seen a few in English. It might be that we come later then to visit to read them.
Of course, I mean, please, by all means, come by. I will have food ready for you, and plenty of tea.
That sounds lovely. Then, just tell me when would be the best time for us to show up, because I don't want to interfere too much.
Well, I mean, I will be out tomorrow, so that's fine. Heinz will let you in, but if I mean maybe 10 o'clock.
Yeah?
Okay, I will instruct everybody that food will be ready, that you will be expected. I mean, Fatma will provide you with anything you need, and
We
I mean,
don't need much, just a little bit to drink.
well, tea and biscuits are the minimum before lunch, and tea and biscuits are the minimum after lunch, and then there will be high tea at 5.
That is fine. We will
She
mainly
makes killer scones.
that.
Our cook.
Then we will definitely.
The only thing that you won't get is clotted cream. In this heat, there is no way.
No worries on that. I'm just glad if we have a little bit, and most of the time we will spend going through the books and seeing if we can find anything.
All right, then I will let everybody know that you will be arriving at 10 o'clock in the morning. Do you need Benno to pick you up?
If it's not,
He will take me into town, and he can take you on his way back, because
if
he won't be hanging around in town. He will pick me up again at 7.
If it fits with your schedule, yes, it would be lovely if you could pick us up at the
Sure.
hotel.
Yeah, then let's say at your hotel at 9:30.
That's perfect. We will be down
Brilliant.
there. Perfect on spot.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So you have
much.
a deal?
We have a deal. I will just wish her a nice rest of the day, and I will go outside because I would have had the driver to wait, because I knew it would not take too long.
Yeah.
And then I would go back to the hotel.
Okay, you go back to the hotel. I would say it's now 5:30, thereabouts. And do you go anywhere in particular, or do you go to your room?
I will go upstairs to my room, or to our room, basically.
Yeah.
To our
so Dottie is to your suite, indeed. Dottie is sitting there. She is looking at a paper. And she's not only looking at it, she's reading it. Oh.
Greetings from Clarice.
Greetings back.
If you're up, I just suspect so. Tomorrow, 9:30 in the morning, Ben will pick us up, and we will have the whole day to snoop through the library to see what we can find.
Sure.
I know it's quite boring. If you're not, we can do something. We will go through the books. Clarice is not there, but she said she will just instruct everyone that we are allowed to be there, because she remembers not too long ago her father came back from Alexandria with something very special, where he was very excited, and the next day he immediately drove over to Kareem's place, so it might be exactly what we are looking for. So let's see if we can find this mysterious book without a head.
All right.
Because I hope this could give us a clue why it's important. Because the other book for sure did not give us any clues.
All right, I'm up for it.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
So she looks at her watch and she says, when would you like dinner?
Whenever it fits for you.
Well, are you hungry now?
To be honest, yes, but I can wait.
Well, in that case, let's get this over with. Let's get cooking, because the longer the meat is out, the worse it gets, even in the icebox. So let's get started.
Then let's get started. If I need to help to chop anything or do anything, tell me.
She rolls a 0-1 on her cooking.
Wow.
This is the best steak ever.
Ever. And you can raise her cooking skill more.
Yeah, indeed, she gets a +10, right? You're right. It goes up by 5. Hey, I mean, that's
one day
serious
she will
stuff.
open a restaurant, and she will get a 3-star Michelin restaurant. No, I know they didn't have that by then, but
Oh, wow, that is. She rolls a 0-1 on cooking, then something happens, she probably rolls a 100.
Well, priorities in life. Cooking
is the priorities in life. Food is important.
First one.
So she makes really good steak, and this time, and she got some asparagus and some nice vegetables and some probably actually potatoes, and she will actually do home fried fries. And it is a lovely meal. And she made some dipping sauces.
Yeah,
So yeah,
very,
she
very
got some
good.
yogurt and stuff. So you have a really, really lovely meal.
I would have picked a nice red wine, but just
Yeah.
for one glass. So not to get drunk, but just to enjoy with the meal. And I can imagine that in this way, Dottie would also join for
Yeah.
one glass just with the meal, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you only drink the one glass is, of course, something she notices because you had this discussion
I
about,
promised her.
how you want to. Yeah. So she notices, and she says, okay, so how do we go? How do we go about this? Do we just, I mean, literally go in the library and just pick books that look like they are bound in leather and just try our best or luck? No, I'm not challenging
No,
you. I'm just
I'm-
wondering what the best course of action would be.
I think one for sure should have a look through the registry. I'm quite sure Clarice checked it already 3 times or more, but we should have a look maybe as well if we can find something. And the rest is really going through the books
Books that are bound and bound in
see
leather.
bound in leather, no title, nothing on there. And I'm still not sure. We need to understand how he grouped the books. By topic, or was it language or whatever, so just to make sure that we find out the system, because I'm quite sure he not chaotically just put them together. However, I'm quite sure that there is a system behind that, because that should help to maybe limit it.
Yeah, because if he grouped them by author, a book that doesn't have a title probably also doesn't have an author, so it would not be fitting anywhere. So I assume you're right. So there may be, I mean, it could well be that there are other books that don't have titles or authors. If he had other pieces bound,
Yeah.
then it could be that they are separated out anyway.
Yeah. That if it grouped by language, then maybe there we have, at least we know it's Greek. So let's see what we can. It's at least worth a try. Clarice said she's been looking quite a bit around, but well, we have 2 eyes more, and let's see. It's at least worth a try, I think.
So we've got a really good plan.
I hope so.
Let's see. Okay, so what do you want to do for the evening?
Not much. So after dinner, we would probably try to get a mocha again to make it work. I think Alice will try today. Let me grab the knife. It truly doesn't want to cooperate. That is a failure. Although it's a 46, so it's not no. I'm lying.
It's drinkable.
It's a 49. It's drinkable, but it's not the best. But well, worth a try.
Well, I mean, it's something that gets better with improvement, with trying. So you have an okay mocha, which is made a little better by she managed to get green Turkish delights.
Very nice.
And yeah, so basically then you spend the evening, she reads some, you may be reading some. Do you go out on the balcony?
No.
Okay.
She will stay inside. She will also read something. I could imagine that Alice would also steal some time from Dottie, that we have a closer look about trips around the Nile, because that's definitely something we want to do, and we slowly need to decide which trip do we want to take, which route, where do we want to stop. And by now, I'm quite sure we would have collected quite a few options, just discussing, at least pre-discussing what we want to do, when do we want to start. Just that we know.
Yes, indeed. So let's take a look at trips down the Nile. Let me just do something right quick. Okay, so trips down the Nile.
Because we know we wanna stop at, let me see, where was it called? No. Reception. Hampton. Tel El Amana.
Amana.
That's
Yeah.
definitely must stop for sure.
So there are two ways you can go about it. There is one.
Oh, and didn't we know one where Lady?
Yeah, she is actually so she does do what do you call it, the guide
Yeah,
thing, and
it would
the
be fun to do the trip with her as a guide.
okay. In that case, that is the long trip. Well, long in terms of it takes several days up and down. But you know, because you stop. So that would be a trip upstream on one of our luxury riverboats up to Aswan, with stops at all the exciting spots you want to visit: Memphis, Dendera, Luxor, the Ramesseum, and of course Aswan itself. And if you so choose, they can drop you off at Tel El Amarna, in which case you would have to stay there and wait for the next boat to come, which would be 2 days or three, which would be two nights, 3 days. But there is plenty to do there because you've been invited to visit the dig, so that would be something you could do.
I think a good idea would do the trip because we will pass Tel Amana 2 times, right? On the way down the river and then the way up again. And on the way back, it would be good because then we would have the
that
trip.
would be the idea. Yeah. And you go up to Aswan.
Yeah.
So upstream, and then the boat turns back, and then they would drop you off, and then the next one that comes down again would pick you up. That's not a problem.
I think that would be an interesting way to go.
Yeah. So basically, there is. She also picked up leaflets, and you know they show you what you could see there. So basically, it's Luxor and Karnak would be on the list. Memphis.
So then there would be. Didn't she say when the next one was?
She says she's going to be here for 7 days, and then. Or 12 days, and then it's or something like that. So basically, you could definitely catch her on that one.
Yeah, that would be the idea. That we get that one. So tomorrow would be then the day where we try to get it booked. But I'm quite sure the hotel would help as well.
Absolutely, because they also arrange for transfers to the Nile, to the
because
harbor, I guess.
Would we pack? No, we would keep the suite. It should keep ours, and we would just have the traveling stuff with us. The rest would stay in the hotel, right? Okay.
Yes, because you have booked this on a monthly basis. Yeah. So that can be arranged. So Dottie is keeping copious notes, is taking copious notes while the two of you are planning and talking. And she said, "Well, if you would like me to, I can arrange this."
That would be good, at least that we try to get it planned ahead, and that we are sure that we have space on the boat, not that it's fully booked already.
No, I think this should be fine because it's 12 days. It's 10 days from now, so I think it will be, or 11 days because you had the meeting with her the day before. So yeah, no problem. I will get this sorted. And she actually says, "I'm gonna go down now and just see what this entails.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna talk to the man at reception." And she leaves.
Then Alice will just sit down on the couch. She will grab the book of Lady Jane again, the one about the wonderful 3 faces that day, and go on reading in peace and quiet, and waiting until Dottie shows up again.
Dottie does come back. It does take a half an hour for her to come back, and then she says, "Well, it was actually a lot less problematic than I thought. I just pointed out what we wanted to do, and he just took down our names, and he rang the oh Gott, was ist Reederei auf Englisch?
Just oh God, that is a good.
I've never used that word.
If not, we use travel agency.
Yeah, so the travel agency, and they basically booked us onto that trip. And yes, it is the one that Lady Jane will be the guide on. So I made doubly sure, and we've got a cabin. The problem is they don't have separate cabins. They only have 2-bed cabins, so we will have to share.
And it's the shipping company.
Shipping company, okay, well...
Or ship manager, shipping company, both.
So he spoke to the shipping company, and it's fine, we're booked, and I made a down payment to our room.
Perfect.
Okay.
Then we have that as planned.
She actually takes out a guidebook of the if you will, of trips down the Nile, as it were, and she shares it with you, basically.
I think what Alice has in mind, just as something for you in the background, what she would collect any kind of flyers or leaflets or like the invitation to the party that we've been in. She would have collected all of these bit by bit, and she wants basically to in the end have like a little bit of a travel book. So one of the travel guides in book form that she has, she's basically in between putting things in there. We've been here and this is the card, and that would be what in the end she would ask Karim if he could bind it properly.
Can you actually see anything?
Yes, I can see my face.
Good.
Looks sort of.
Okay, because I'm confused. It tells me I've got 3 screens. I'm just wondering what the third one is because I don't have
I
a third
see
one.
PowerPoint.
Okay, so
PDF,
this
whatever
is
it
Luxor.
Yep.
So basically, this would be basically what they're telling you. You know, cradle of all of Egypt's civilizations over the
She's
millennia,
feeling a
blah
little
blah
bit
blah.
bad because she's quite sure we will not finish to help Paris. And
Not
on the way
in
back,
basically
we would stop at the are here to see something.
So Luxor would actually be a full day because
Honestly,
Luxor
it's a
has
question if 10 days make a
well,
big
it's a
difference,
town
or
as
not?
well.
So
And then the
basically
Temple of Luxor, at some point Dottie goes to bed.
big statues. Luxor and Karnak, of course.
Do you also go to bed?
Yep.
I mean, want to do? Okay, so the
I
two of you
remember
go to
Death on
bed.
the Nile, the
Make a
actual-
power
the
check for
first
me,
movie
please.
where they
Still wanna
actually
do
shot
that?
there. Super,
Nobody cares what
super
you want. The
exciting.
28th,
Then
it's fine.
Temple of Bandera. And then Aswan and the island. of Sinai.
27. I am fine.
And then, of
That's
course,
good.
Hard
there's
success.
also Al-Amarna,
You wake up the next morning and you make breakfast.
Yep.
engravings of
Then
Muhammad
at
and
8,
his
sorry,
family,
yes.
and
Do you want to do
No.
something else or do you
itself,
just
which is
9:30? Okay.
basically
9:30,
ruins
the
today,
driver picks you
but
up, takes you to Clarice's house. Heinz lets you in.
And then Aswan.
And he says, well, the young lady has told me that you're here to catalog, to help her catalog the books of the major to ensure that, no other books have gone missing. So please let me show you in and I will serve tea.
Thank you.
And he lets you into the library. He serves tea like 10 minutes later and biscuits. Turkish delight is also served. The biscuits are definitely homemade. Dottie can tell. You can as well. And the two of you start
Yep.
looking. So, so make a library use roll. I mean, we've got this stat. Why not use it? Oh God, Dottie sees nothing.
Alice is lucky. I rolled an 81, which is still a success for her.
Oh wow, your library use is super.
My
She's got
library use is
38.
85.
Wow. Okay. So the thing that you find is actually it is sorted by author because that does make sense.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Shakespeare, but then all Shakespeare are together, of course. Even Shakespeare in different languages because he has translations of Shakespeare. So he seems to really have collected everything. Then there are different versions of the same, let's stick with Shakespeare, the same book or the same play in different editions, But then ordered, so if you've got like 5 Hamlets next to each other, that's the way he did it. And then there are books that are different, as you would have noticed, simply because they don't have anything on their spine. So ordering them would be quite difficult because how do you just put them?
Yeah.
Where do you put them?
Yeah.
Okay, so you look at those, and there you can see that they are grouped probably according to topic.
Okay.
And you can tell because one of them is in English, the first one you pick up, and then there are 2 in French. And they have different titles and they don't have authors. They are more like, collections. But they all deal with agriculture in Egypt. So, so it seems like when the author was not something that was important, he grouped it by topic. So now you can make another library use roll.
Okay, let's see if this is getting better or worse.
She missed.
An 84 is success.
Wow, you're still a success. Okay, so at some point...
But we're
you keep
struggling
looking.
for sure.
You're struggling. At some point, there's a knock on the door. The door opens and Heinz comes in and he says, Madam.
Yep.
Then he looks at Dottie and says, Madam. And again, looks at her and he says, lunch is served.
Oh, thank you. Is it already lunchtime?
It's 1:30.
We totally missed the time.
This is why I'm here.
Well, thank you very much.
He takes you downstairs.
On the
Lunch
way
is served.
down, I would ask Heinz, just to
Madam?
be curious, do you know if he has any other place where he stored books? Like books he didn't yet have time to really put into the cards and registry and put them back?
Well, the time that when he didn't have time to register them all at once is long past. That was in the beginning when he was building up his collection. But over the last, I want to say, 5 years, he would only ever get as many books as he could catalog in a week.
Okay.
So there is no backlog, if that's what you mean.
Yes, that was my idea. Just if we maybe missed a space to look at, but then we know everything should be in that room.
So he takes you to the salon. Where there is a small table, which probably it was only like for maybe Clarice, her father and mother, when they weren't hosting anyone, so it's enough to seat 4. And there's lunch. So lunch is soup, salad, and a very light, some kind of vegetable, something or other, blah. Very, very nice. And of course, there is dessert. Pavlova probably. No, Pavlova has a lot of milk products in it, so probably not Pavlova, something that doesn't have that much milk in it. Then he takes you upstairs again and he serves tea because he knows that the young ladies will have a chore ahead of them. And you keep looking. Please make a library use roll.
I would also, while we are still down, I would see if I can grab hold of Benno, or at least ask Heinz.
Benno is there.
Yeah, then I would at least try to just see if I can. Benno, could I just 5 minutes of your time, please?
Of course, madam. What can I do for you?
Just to be curious. We know not too long ago you've been in Alexandria with the Major.
Yes, indeed.
And he found something that he was extremely excited about. Did he by any chance mention on a drive back on what it was?
Yeah, he had bought books. He's always excited when he buys books.
But
he was always excited when he bought books.
His daughter said he was more excited than usual.
I cannot say that I can share the sentiment, but then again, he didn't speak to me on the trip back.
It was at least a try. Thank you so much.
So you go upstairs?
I think it would be a classic insight check on him if he's hiding something. So it would be psychology probably. No. An 80. I'm sticking with the 80s today. Yay.
Yeah. He's good as gold.
He's honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we go upstairs, have a bit of tea, and then...
She rolled a 13 on her library use. She made it. It's a hard success.
Let me see what I'm getting. 98.
Okay, so you basically... You look, you find nothing. She looks, and she's like...
I need other dice.
Oh God, it's that time already. Yeah. She looks and she says, Alice,
yeah,
I haven't found the book, but I found this.
Okay.
And she points to a place in a shelf at the very top. She's actually climbed a ladder.
Yeah.
And she says, and she's standing on the ladder looking down at you, and she says, you can't see this probably from down there, can you?
No.
There is a book missing, or at least it looks like there is one book missing. The books around it are all bound paper. They're not real books, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it could be that it was here. will I take down a couple of the books and you look at those?
Yes, please. And
Okay,
Alice would be down at the ladder trying to basically take what Dottie is.
She hands you 3 books.
Okay.
You take them to one of the desks.
Mm-hmm.
You open the books. They're all in Greek.
That is maybe good.
She looks at you and she says, "What does it say?"
That is a good question. I do not speak Greek. I can do Latin and French. I have no idea.
But if we think that maybe this is the Greek collection, then it could be where the book was.
It's for sure. When we look at the first page or anything, would it look anything like a title of that chapter or something like that?
The first one is actually, it looks like, oh, that's very smart. The first one does look like you would expect a book to look. So it's got like a headline that's a little bit separated out. And this is a printed book.
Okay.
So it's really printed Greek text. The next one looks the same, but that's definitely handwritten.
I think that's the main question, Dottie. Let me just see if I can find Heinz.
Can you do me a favor and do an education roll?
I can do so. If not, Alice would at least want to check with Heinz if Clarice can read Greek. Might be an option that she grew up learning that a little bit.
So we will now put you to the test.
Education is a success.
How is your Greek?
I have 0 on Greek.
No, your real Greek.
0 on Greek. I can say, what was it, Kalimera? Kalinesta. I think that's, and I can count. I think that's all in Greek that I can. At least I think so. That's the little bit I picked up from vacation. Especially, it depends on, is it old Greek or really original
Well, the
Greek?
writing would be the same.
Well,
the writing hasn't changed. The writing system hasn't changed.
Yeah, but it's in Greek letters. It's not in Western letters. Yeah, then I'm definitely out.
Okay. So then make a luck roll.
Okay. Alice would be as well. She would clearly see it's Greek, but that would be the extent
you would.
of it.
You would definitely notice it's Greek.
No, a 95.
Okay,
the lucks
so you have no
the
idea.
dice hate me today for sure.
You have no idea what this is.
No, so I would run off and would see if I can find Heinz.
Heinz is downstairs. Clarice isn't. You know this. She's
No, but I would ask him if he knows, because he was around long enough to see what she maybe learned or not learned.
Then please make a luck roll. I don't know if she knows Greek. You will have to make a decision on yourself.
God, I don't hate these dice. But yeah, she would ask Heinz. It's a 31. That would be a success in luck.
Okay. He looks at you and he says, well, the young lady, I don't know if you could say she can speak Greek, but I know that she's known to be reading it. Probably not very well, but why?
We found...
Definitely not as well as the major.
Well, sadly, we can't ask him. That would be the easiest way, but bless his heart, he should just rest in peace.
Because as you're saying this, he does kind of like start.
We found something in Greek, and to be honest, my Greek is non-existing, so I can't figure out what is written in there. So we were just curious if Clarice, when she comes back, might be an option to help. Thank you.
Well, I can certainly let her know.
Thank you very much.
Will you place the books so that she can find them? Because he knows that Benno is going to take you into town on his way to pick up. Okay.
We will do so, or we come by tomorrow for a short visit just to show her. That might be also an option.
Okay.
And then she runs back upstairs and tells Dottie that Clarice might be helpful.
Okay. So then essentially you spend some more time, but basically you don't turn up anything. And then Benno does show up and he says he needs to go into town now and he would ask you to...
Okay, we would have put, at least Alice would have put the books back. So not leaving them outside, like please look at them. We would put them back exactly where we found them. And just remember where we found them. And Alice would like to come back tomorrow then to talk to Clarice because she's trusting anyone in this house. So yeah, we would pack our things and would go with Benno back to the hotel, but I would leave a message with Heinz that if Clarice comes back, if she could ring me at the hotel, please.
Okay. So today is the evening, on which Dottie has been invited to Lady Jane Carmichael's home for dinner.
I did still not get an official day for dinner.
Well, she was invited, not you. So
then she can make herself ready. I will just eat in the hotel lobby. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So essentially, she does, and then at the appointed time, on the dot, there is a ring. The phone rings, and it's reception saying that there is somebody there, a driver to pick up Ms. Williams, and Dottie goes downstairs, and she is then whisked away by the driver, and you go and have dinner in the restaurant.
Yeah, I would have probably just tried to see if Pamela is there.
Make a luck roll.
And would mind joining for dinner. No, Pamela's not there.
Pamela is actually probably still, she was going to pick up the wine from her husband that he had shipped to Alexandria. Maybe she made it a day or a 2-day trip, whatever. Anyway, so essentially what happens is you have dinner, and then of course you do get a phone call from Clarice. Yeah. Clarice here. Alice, Benno said to ring. Heinz said to ring. What is it?
Well, we might have found something helpful, but it's in Greek, and our Greek is not really there. Would you by any chance know a little bit of Greek to maybe find out at least what the books are about, topic-wise?
Well, I can read Greek writing, and if I take a dictionary, depending on what the text is, but yes, I can try.
Would it fit if I come by tomorrow, whenever it fits for you, just to quickly show you the books and go through them?
Of course. When would you like to come by? I'm in all day.
Then I will come by in the morning.
All right.
Between
let's say 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Sounds good.
Very good. I'm going to send Benno.
Oh, thank you. If you don't need him.
No. I'm not going anywhere tomorrow.
Then have a lovely rest of the evening.
Okay.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Okay, so it's now about 9 o'clock. What do you want to do with the rest of the evening?
Thinking about drinking, but she will not. She will make herself a cup of hot chocolate. And she will sit down reading Lady Jane's book again, because it will take a little time to get through that for sure.
Can you make me a POW check, please?
The question is, master?
Yes.
Anyway. That's a 16, so that's
very good. That's a very good success.
Hard success.
Good. So you read the book. The question is, do you think that Alice would consider this book intriguing?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she's curious on the content. I'm not sure if the writing is really intriguing, but the content itself, she is curious to learn whatever she can about the lady that stole her looks, her lipstick, and is annoying the heck out of her.
Well, these points are not mentioned.
No.
It's also not mentioned that they may be smoking. That's also not mentioned.
I think she would be curious to get some understanding about the relationship between the three. because she hasn't met any of the other twos, but she would be curious what kind of relationship and who's covering basically what kind.
So it is basically assumed that it is not one person that looks in 3 different ways, but it's really 3 distinct entities that were later subsumed under Astarte or Isis. And there are also depictions of basically they are pillars with 3 faces of women. This can also be found in later years, where they would be found at crossroads. And essentially they are they are neither benevolent nor maleficent. They are malevolent. They are they just are. You could say that they probably simply they represent life and how hard it is for humans. I mean, being born is terrible, life can be terrible, and death definitely is terrible as well. But they are always there, so they are kind of like a constant in people's lives, and they accompany mortals. They are much more powerful than the Greek or Roman gods in that they decree when someone dies, and this decree can never be upended. So there's reference to a scene in the Iliad where Sarpedon, son of Zeus, dies in the battle, and Zeus is so grief-stricken that he wants to revive him. And all the gods are up in arms and say, you cannot do this because the fates in Greek mythology have decreed that it's his time to die, and there is nothing we can do about it. Not even Almighty Zeus can append their decision. It's not quite clear if they actually decide or if they basically just do what a higher power demands of them. The way they deal with human life is depicted in different ways. Some say that they spin a thread, so from a spindle, and then basically it gets turned into a thread, and then somebody cuts it. Some say that they've got an eternal loom where they start weaving everybody's life thread into the big tapestry that is the universe. But that whatever you try and do, if you decide to disrespect them, that's a very bad idea. And one is always young, one is always middle-aged, and one is always very old.
Okay. So I probably met it looked more middle-aged. So.
No, she was young.
She was young.
She was your age, you're not middle-aged.
Alice counts herself as middle-aged?
No, your mother is middle-aged.
That is kind of debatable. She's kind of old.
No, she's not. We're talking about a really, really old person here. She's about 90.
Okay,
that is
understood.
Old. So it's really like...
Right.
Yeah, so it's the maiden, the mother, and the crow.
Okay.
So basically you met the young one, the wild one who smokes and uses lipstick.
Which kind of sadly fits then, yes?
Yeah. And that, of course, this she doesn't go into this old and it's all Mother Earth and blah blah blah, and she doesn't really believe that there once was one big mother goddess, and that but that definitely with Christian beliefs, this idea of a female godhood was kind of suppressed, but that it found its way in Catholicism into the different saints, and of course Mary being the one that stands out.
Yeah.
And that basically they never really went away. They were just put into other female belief systems. And that, of course, they are still revered today. And, of course, that there are still... the mysteries are still maintained by some people. And she would also vouch for the fact that definitely in Egypt there are still people who believe in Astarte, although they would not say it because it's now Islamic. And Islam, like any monotheistic religion is very, very jealous of other gods. Polytheistic societies usually don't have any problems if somebody believes in something different. They just incorporate them and say, yeah, that's also a god of the sky. We just, he's like Zeus, we just give him a different name. But the monotheistic god is a jealous god.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically then this is backed up with finds. Where did we find them? Who mentioned them? What have we got today? Shards, busts, whatever it is. And it's a very interesting. It's not I don't want to make it sound like it's a new age kind of completely wacky idea, but it's really a book written by an archaeologist, Egyptologist. It's a scientific book.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't speculate, and it also doesn't kind of bring in some kind of metaphysical. It's a discussion of a religious belief that existed several thousand years ago.
Good. Okay. She would also look if there are any weaknesses she can read out of it. Probably not, but she would try to keep an eye open on that.
Okay, then make a library use roll.
Let's see. 65, so at least a success.
It is definitely mentioned that they don't really have weaknesses in terms of that nobody has ever dared to try and do something to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you simply wouldn't try and attack a god.
Okay. Noted.
They just, they are revered. It's like I suppose it's like trying to, well, they did try to kill Jesus, but then he wasn't a god, he was in human form. I mean, this is the one thing that you do learn. They don't, if you will, they don't become flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't get born into this world. They're not avatars. They are gods that simply take human form but don't become human.
Okay.
So they're more like the Greek gods in that respect.
Okay. So a little bit of information, but not really helpful. At least not to.
Well, maybe entertaining and interesting, but if you're trying to kill one of them,
no,
it's not gonna.
Killing.
You could throw the book at them.
Yeah, it's more getting rid of them. I think that's her main idea. How can I get rid of her? Because she's still sure that latest when she returns back home that she will show up again.
Well, the one thing that you do notice is that these are gods or goddesses rather that don't necessarily interact directly with humans. They more interact with the other gods.
Mm-hmm.
So they would also not be necessarily the actual three fates would not be things that people would pray to.
Yeah.
But that they know of. Astarte, on the other hand, is kind of like a personification of these three. But also Astarte is not like the other Greek gods that she would have actually just shown up and basically, I don't know, talk to people. But that's because she's later than the classical Greek gods. And even then, I mean, the stories that we know of the gods, even, Plato said we shouldn't listen to them because they make the gods look profane by the stories that we tell about them. And then it takes away the godly essence.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also not part of the theogony, so it's not clear where she comes from. It is generally thought that she comes from the East and is not really a member of the original Greek pantheon. She was just there, or she could be an autochthon. Well, one from the land. Like she was there before the Greeks came, and she was just basically subsumed into their belief system.
Yeah.
So her origins are a bit unclear, especially since three female goddesses appear in very many different cultures. You've got them in Norse mythology as well.
Okay. Well, then we will have to deal with her when we are back home.
The last sentence in the book, if you skip ahead, is actually kind of like, and the author would like to point out that finding the same type of belief in so many different cultures might lead us to think that maybe they were there before everybody else came.
Yeah.
But that is just conjecture.
And that's nothing that she really wants to hear.
But sometimes you just have to face up to reality.
But that's quite a scary idea.
Make a power check.
Power check. That should be a success. Yeah, it's a success.
Excellent. So how long do you want to wait up?
I think, I don't know, around between 10 and 11, I think. Around latest 11. Around 10 she would stop reading, get herself ready, and then go towards bed and maybe read a little bit more, and then she would just okay.
Okay, so you switch off the light after a little bit of light reading, and then you go to sleep. Make a power check.
Still not sure if I want to. I know I have no option to. Come on, dice. Oh. That is not good. Is it good?
If it's a 100, it isn't.
I only have zeros on my desk.
That's a 100.
That is a 100, isn't it?
That's a botch. Oh my word, you botched your power check. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's a blank 100.
Yeah, it's a 100. Okay.
I have definitely headaches and whatever comes on top of that.
I did not foresee this.
Me neither, but the way I'm rolling today, it's not that surprising.
Well, I mean, we can see that there's a trend. It gets up, 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 up. Okay. All right.
Alice dies. Dottie comes home and no one is there anymore.
No, it's not that easy. You don't die if you miss your power, if you botch your power check.
That would be hard.
Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay. Did you set an alarm clock?
Yes.
Okay. The alarm rings.
Okay. I will just go for it and open like one eye.
Light is streaming in.
Okay. Then I would look at... Would I look at the... No, I think I should know how late it is because the alarm clock just went. I would just take a few more minutes and then I would stretch, yawn, get up, go towards the bathroom to get ready.
Get ready.
Go into the kitchen, make breakfast.
Okay, make breakfast.
Breakfast is ready, so I would knock at Dottie's door.
Okay, you knock on Dottie's door.
With the words, breakfast is ready.
Dottie says, I'll be right there.
Okay.
Dottie goes to the bathroom, freshens herself up, is ready, sits down, looks at you. Did you have a nice evening?
A quite relaxing evening. Did you have a nice evening?
It was fantastic.
Good. Anything interesting learned?
Lots of things that were very interesting. She knows lots of things.
She's seen quite a bit in the world, I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are the plans for today then?
Going over to Clarice's place. Just to see what the Greek books you found, or at least what the content is. And that's all I've planned.
All right, so when do we leave?
I think 9:30 again, right? 9:30, Benna will pick us up.
Oh, good. She has her breakfast. Did you make mocha?
Let me try to make mocha. I tried to at least. Nope. 74. The mocha. It's normal coffee.
It's normal coffee. Okay. So you have normal coffee.
Yep.
You go downstairs at 9:30 when the guy rings you from the front desk telling you that your driver is here. You go downstairs. He drives you to the house. You go inside. Heinz opens. Clarice is expecting you. She takes you upstairs to the library and she says, "Oh, all right. So which books?"
Alice will grab the ladder and would climb upstairs to pull them out again.
She puts them on the desk. She opens the book, the first one, and she says, "Well, that's easy. See?" And she points to the first line. This is Greek and reads Apocalypse. This is the book of Revelations from the Bible. So the Gospel according to John. She takes the next one. Says, that is a work by Plato. Poetike techne.
Okay.
Sorry, it's by Aristotle. Poetike techne. And here we've got Plato's Republic.
That's not rare books.
No. No, I mean, they exist in many copies today.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've come down to us through the ages. I mean, the fact that they survived is, of course, due to the fact that the Muslims initiated the translation movement and put all of these into Andalusia, in what is today Andalusia. Otherwise, the Catholic Church would have burnt them all. And they were very successful in destroying. For example, the Poetike Techne consists of 2 volumes. We only have one. This one. We know of the other, but it's never been found. We know that it was destroyed, and we know what it's about. It's about comedy. This is about tragedy. So yes.
Okay. Yeah, then thank you for checking. That does not really help with anything.
She looks at you. What do you mean it does not really help you? And in front of your eyes, Clarice changes.
Okay.
And you can now make a sanity check.
Is Dottie nearby?
Dottie is standing right next to you, but she failed her sanity roll.
29 sanity success.
Okay, then you roll a d6 for me.
Oh gosh, now I need to pick up the other d6. Come on. That's 4.
Okay, so the issue is that you actually lose 4 sanity. She loses 10.
Oh, no, that's too much.
No, the problem is she also now has a temporary insanity.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we want to use the cards?
Yeah, why not? She hates colors now. I like that one. She's afraid of pink or red or...
Okay, so these are the guys. Yes, but you are shocked as well because Clarice is turning into... So basically, she is elongating, becoming very tall, very muscular, lean, and she's turning into a 2-legged jackal. Let's see. What is her phobia? So we'll take...
Wait, so what we've just seen? Dogs?
Raptophobia. She's afraid of rabbits.
We could...
wird uns in Frösche verwandelt. No, actually. No, she's afraid of magic.
She's afraid of magic.
And everything that is to do with it. From the magic wand to, like tricks with
that
cards.
makes sense. Because rabbits would be weird in this context. Yeah. So either dogs or magic, but both would work. Yeah. But magic might be a good...
There is actually a fear of dogs.
Yeah.
Kynophobia.
Yeah, dogs. Yeah. I would totally get by what is just happening because I know a jackal is not a dog. She's
of course also completely she's taking several steps back and she backs into one of the bookshelves. And this thing looks at you.
Alice would also clearly take 1 or 2 steps backwards, but she would still try to move in, like, a little bit in front of Dottie. Protection.
And this thing, he's about 180.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he's got a male torso.
Yep.
So you think this is not helpful?
Does Alice have the chance to grab any kind of book?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
She would definitely grab a book that she can grab hold of and would make another step backwards. I did not talk to you. Where is Clarice?
You are talking to me now. You've been talking to me all day.
Where's Clarice?
You are looking for my daughter.
What?
He goes over to the table,
Mm-hmm.
sits down. He's walking on he's got dog's feet.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go and look outside the window for a second and tell me what you see?
I will have a peek at Dottie. She's probably still kind of frozen shocked.
Dottie is hugging the wall, the bookshelf. She is
I
completely
will
frozen, yes.
walk forwards to the window and look outside.
You see, not, of course, Cairo. You look into absolute darkness. You see lights like stars. Do you look further? Do you look down?
Yeah.
You are looking down and you see that you are in a huge building. You would say easily 100 stories up. This is more like a skyscraper in a completely dark environment.
I'm still dreaming, aren't I? She would just stand at the window, just like...
Make another sanity roll, please.
Mm-hmm. 21. Success?
Okay, you lose 3 more sanity. No, you're not dreaming. You were dreaming last night. I came and took you.
What?
You've been snooping around, if I say so myself. No pun intended.
Why did you take Dottie as well?
I understand that the two of you are inseparable, and I thought you might be less afraid if I brought her too.
Alice will slowly walk over to Dottie again.
You needn't be afraid.
Excuse me saying that, but you are scary.
Which is why I was hiding from my daughter. I got infected. During my time in the desert, it takes time for the change to manifest. When I knew that I could not stop it any longer, I faked my own death.
So they did not bury anything over in England?
They buried lead. My weight. I was very thorough. I'm an Anubian.
Well, I heard that before.
Well, I guess I look like one.
Well, at least all the stories we heard and the things I've seen outside.
At that moment, the door opens and 2 more Anubians step in.
Mm-hmm.
Tea,
No, thank you.
coffee, or water.
Nothing.
I'll have tea, please. They step outside again. So, you've been investigating. You came too close.
Your daughter asked us too, because she was
I know.
desperate. Because
if I'd known she would go to these lengths.
You gave her the idea that all your books are precious.
They are.
When books go missing, what do you think what she would do? Just sit there and wait until more and more and more and more books disappear?
It was just a list of 10. She wasn't to know.
Well, she suspects now, but still she wants to understand why. I honestly
Look at me.
also...
I cannot go and talk to her like this.
I kind of understand, but why these books?
Look around you. What do you see?
A lot of books. Exactly like the ones you have at home, although I thought we were at your home.
He waves his hand and the scenery changes slightly. It's still a library, but it's much huger than the one you were in. It's huge.
Then I don't get
this
at all.
Is the great library of Kelaeno, where every single piece of writing the human race has ever brought forth has been recorded.
But
we keep it. The Library of Alexandria was a mere extension.
But then
you are no longer on Earth.
You have everything here then. Why on earth would you then try to get books stolen from your collection? They are here.
Some of them are precious to me. And some I want to ensure do not get burnt. Book burning is something that we humans are so good at thinking we can destroy the thoughts.
Well, at the moment, you should not be afraid of book burning in Egypt, at least not as far as I know. You have all the books.
Being a librarian, one of the librarians means we see the past, the present, and the future. Book burning will make a reappearance very soon, much sooner than you think. I decided to take one book for myself, which is a book of love sonnets by Shakespeare, which reminds me of my wife, and of course I can't show her my face now. This one, and he gets up and he goes to one of the shelves. He takes off a beautifully bound volume without a title, and he hands it to you. This is what you called the book without the head. This is the only copy on Earth that we know of the Poetike Techne by Aristotle, that deals with comedy.
We found it.
All other copies have been destroyed.
Okay, so we had both.
It was too precious to leave behind.
This also means no human will ever read this.
This also means that no human will ever read this, lest they come to this place. And you're not the first one, and you will not be the last one.
First of all, could Alice do another, insight check?
Of course.
Although it's a question on how much you can read.
The thing
out
is,
of
you
a
are
jackal.
looking into a jackal's face.
So disadvantage.
Yeah. Let's do it at normal.
It's a 90, so no, I have no freaking idea.
Well, okay, let's see. What were you trying to find out specifically? If he's lying.
If he's lying.
Okay, for that you don't roll. You don't have to roll. He sounds completely genuine. The question is more, do you believe that this is the major you're talking to?
That's the two things. that she will follow up on questions. How should I know that you are really who you say you are?
He laughs, and you know how jackals sound when they... It sounds exactly like that.
It's not helpful that you're getting creepy again.
Sorry, this is me laughing. How can I prove that I am who I'm saying I am?
I honestly have no idea, since we never met before. I can't ask you anything personal, because...
And I guess you will just have to take my word.
You could talk to your daughter if you can change your appearance like you did.
I can't.
But you changed your appearance.
You are here.
Yes.
You have always been here since you went to bed last night.
And you can't...
You woke up here.
Take your daughter... No, you should not. Please don't do that. That's a stupid idea. Alice has a midlife crisis. Like, why always me? Why am I always the stupid one getting stuck in this insanity?
You can make an idea roll.
Before I do that, I would just... Could you please release at least Dottie?
I'm not doing anything to her. I think she's just afraid. I'm not sure if I talk to her, it might make it worse.
You brought us to a place that is not Earth. You, in yourself, are extremely
Oh, you mean
scary.
take her back?
Yes.
You will both leave. And at this stage, the door opens and one of the Anubians comes in with a tea tray and tea. And he says, are you sure you don't want any biscuits? They are very good.
Still, no thank you. Because I still have no idea where I am and why on earth I'm here and why on earth should I trust you.
You needn't trust me. I'm here. I brought you here because I wanted you to stop investigating. You will not find anything.
Well, I have then clearly a very weird answer for your daughter.
I want her to stop looking.
If she's halfway the person I met, you should know better.
But what do you suggest? She can't find this.
Find a way how to tell her what has happened.
Tell her what exactly, that her father turned into a monster?
Well, you can put it maybe in a nicer way.
I can't leave. What am I going to say? I'm changed and you can't see me again? What is worse, thinking that I'm dead? Or knowing that I'm something that she will never be able to see?
Honestly, both are horrific. At least she knows you're still there. Which might be nicer than knowing you are not there anymore.
I'm here.
Whatever here is. I know you give the name a play.
Let me help you with this. He gets up again.
No, thank you, no, thank you, no help, no touching, not doing anything.
No, he's not. He's
Alice will clearly back up.
No, he doesn't even walk towards you. He gets up and he goes to one of the bookshelves.
Yeah, he gets up. She's going opposite. No, she will definitely walk towards Dottie. And she will try to whisper in Dottie's ear, like, "Dear, try to wake up. Come on, wake up. I know you can do it."
She is awake. She's just...
No, wake up, like, wake up out of... Because Alice suspects Dottie and she are sleeping. And this is a dream. Okay. Because he said we are here since we went to bed and went to sleep. So Alice is clearly this is vision. So we are stuck in a dream. So it would be like to Dottie, like, wake up, dear. And Alice would be like, Nowhere's better than home. I will just wake up in my own bed now. Oh, in the hotel bed, please, not my own bed. That would be freaky. And she would just close her eyes for a moment, just be hoping, like, maybe when I open them up again, I will be in bed.
Did you make your idea roll?
I did, and it's a critical success.
Okay, there is one thing that does come to your mind, how you could check if this really is the major. You know that he hung up a poem by a very obscure, kind of bad poet named Patrick Shaw Stewart in his study to remind him of that whoever the muses kiss, he needs to collect their work even if he thinks it's bad. Achilles in the Trenches, you could ask him that.
Yeah, but he already knew other stuff, like the book.
I'm just saying, this is something that is kind of
that's not the main focus for Alice at the moment. She kind of believes, kind of not, but that's not the main focus. Main focus is we need to get out of here, but how to do that in a good way. Not to upset anyone here, because we clearly will be dead if any one of them try to bite our hands off. So
are you saying this?
What she will whisper is really just like closing her eyes, probably grabbing Dottie's hand, like, we will wake up in our beds and everything will be okay.
He looks at you and he says, this is not Alice in Wonderland or Alice through the looking glass. It doesn't work like this.
She will just ignore and she will just repeat.
Tell my daughter to leave well alone.
With which,
please,
she would open her eyes, just look at him in a very angry way. How should I explain that? Your daughter is just as stubborn as I am, probably, and probably just as you've been in the past before. She wants to solve this riddle, and
she's a lot older than you are, but I can see a resemblance, yes.
She will not let go of that. If I can't help her, she will find someone else. So if you can't find a proper explanation on where the books went and why,
and tell her you found that I sold them.
She will not believe that.
Then tell her what you like.
I'm
the
not lying
now.
For you. Why on earth should I do that?
Then
send your right-hand man to tell all the lies. The way that he stole, as it seems, the books.
Heinz knows nothing.
Well, he clearly had a list of books to grab for you.
Heinz doesn't remember.
Well, it would be helpful if you would not freak out his psychic and mental health more than it's already shaken.
This is why he doesn't remember.
Great. So he's sleepwalking during daytime in a shock state.
Not anymore. I've got all I wanted except for the one book that you have now.
Well, but he creeped out all the other ones in the house with his behavior. So you see, everything you do causes a chain reaction. If you start lying, it's getting worse and worse and worse.
He passed his willpower check. He doesn't bite your head.
Good. Bring us back. You can have the freaking book.
I've already got it. You didn't bring it with you. The one that you have, that I want, is the sonnets, and you don't have it on you, I know. But never mind.
Tell me where we should drop it and you can have it, but I will not explain anything to your daughter except the truth, which she doesn't want to, or you don't want her to know.
It matters not. Tell her the truth if you like. She will not believe you. It was an honor meeting you.
I'm not sure I can say the same, and it would be nice if you could close up the hole in the hotel garden. Not that someone else finds it by accident.
I will let them know.
She's still holding on to Dottie. If we could please wake up now, in our beds.
As you wish. You wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And you are lying in your bed.
She will take a deep breath. Get up. and walk over to Dottie's room.
Do you open the door? Do you knock?
She will knock.
Yes.
She will walk over, just plonk next to Dottie. Will just grab her hand.
Was it one of those shared dreams?
I'm not sure it was a dream.
We met Anubis?
No. We met the Major.
He looks like Anubis.
They all do.
He could have fooled me.
Well,
yes, that was weird.
I'm quite sure, as weird as it sounds, he might have told the truth, but we read about the Anubians. They seem to be real. And he's one of them.
It felt quite real.
It did. But they are not Anubis. They are not God. Like, they are just creatures.
What did you see when you looked out the window?
Sky and stars.
What?
The sky,
Sky and
dark,
stars?
dark black sky and stars.
What did he mean when he said we weren't on Earth anymore?
I don't know, but we might need to check up what the hell the Great Library of Kalino is. Although I'm not sure if we really want to check up on that.
I really would like to know what just happened, so yes.
I'm angry enough that he snuck out of his responsibility, leaving us with the topic to tell something to his daughter, because he's not man enough to tell him herself. Why are men like that? Always cowards.
I'm not even sure that he is a man anymore.
Well, he was clearly behaving like he would still be the Major, and he was worried about his daughter. Which shows that he's a weak male figure that is not standing up to what they are responsible for. As most of them are.
Matthew, this one's for you. Dottie is... Are you maybe interpreting him wrongly?
No, I'm annoyed with men, and he's just one on top of the list of men that annoys me.
How about I make breakfast?
Alice will look at the clock now, how late it is.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Let's start with some hot chocolate. I will make it.
Okay.
So Alice
And then
will get up. We'll stay in bed. We will have chocolate,
Alright.
hot chocolate in bed where it's comfy.
Okay.
And she will make hot chocolate, and then she will return with 2 mugs with hot chocolate, and she will plonk again next to Dottie.
She basically makes space. She gives you the second pillow, puts the blanket over the two of you, and you can have your hot chocolate.
I'm very sorry. I'm pulling you into all this madness again, although I don't know why.
Well, we did investigate this mystery.
Only because his daughter asked us to. Why didn't he stop his daughter from investigating instead of
maybe
bugging
he
us?
didn't know until he found out that we were looking for him. She didn't get anywhere. She was just saying books were missing. She didn't do any investigation. She just said they were missing.
Well, now he dumped the problem on us to decide if we lie to her or not. We will for sure can return the book. He will grab it whenever he feels like, and poor Heinz will again lose another day of memory.
What do you? I mean, don't look at me like this.
No.
I'm not him.
I know. I honestly, the only thing I can give her is the truth. And that it's his freaking job to give her the proper answer. Because it seems that he's looking or watching over his daughter and the books. Also, it's quite selfish of him just stealing the one book where there's only one copy existing and sharing it with no other human. And he talked about books will be burning soon. Although the question is, what is soon in their eyes?
Yes, he did say he was immortal now. Time doesn't have any meaning for him anymore. I still don't understand when he said he had been infected, so he's ill. Well, I mean, I suppose.
I kind of suspect the Nubians creating new Anubians the way werewolves create new werewolves. If all of this insanity is true.
So, we now know what happened.
Yes.
It's not really theft if you steal from yourself.
No, in the end we can tell her your father stole his own books to keep them with themselves as memorandum to his life. To his former life would be actually the word.
Maybe don't tell her that. Maybe just say that he basically had them put into his coffin, and if she asks how you know, you say you had a vision.
No,
or something.
That will not work.
So how are you going to explain it? Or maybe just if we don't do anything, maybe it'll just go away.
Has that ever worked before?
No.
I will blankly tell her the truth, and she can decide what she makes out of it. And he can decide if he's had enough to step up to.
So you're going to tell her that her father has turned into a jackal on 2 legs and is now somewhere in a place called Kelino looking after a library that is big?
Well, you can phrase it a little bit nicer, but yes.
I have to say I take my hat off to you because I would not be able to phrase this any differently. I still don't know what I saw, and I wish I could unsee it. It was like the Wendigo.
No, the Wendigo was much more horrific because the Wendigo wanted to kill us. And tried to kill us actively.
To be quite honest, I was just waiting for him to try the same thing because you were not being very friendly to him.
They offered us tea and cookies.
Which is a nice gesture in England, I hear.
I think so, but that clearly showed that they are not mindless beasts like the Wendigo was in the rage form that we met her.
Yeah, but I mean, why did you then aggravate him so?
Because he's a stupid man that made me angry that he wanted to pass along his responsibility to me. Or us. Also, I don't like getting snatched out of my bed and out of my dreams.
Yes, what is it with you and being
I don't know if
deities at night or...
Maybe when I fall asleep, there is an inviting sign like, hey, if you want to bug someone, do it here. When we're back, I should ask if there's any way to shut up this door that no one can get me in my sleep. I don't know if there's a way, but it's worth asking.
Do you think he came through the door? I kind of doubt that.
I have no idea how this grabbing someone when they're asleep works.
How about we have breakfast in bed? I'll order something.
That's a good idea.
She gets up, she goes to the phone, orders breakfast. She says, Then the breakfast comes. She puts it on 2 trays with fold-out legs. She gives you one. She has one herself, and then the two of you have breakfast. I'm truly sorry, Alice.
Why?
Because I feel that this is terrible for you, and there's nothing I can do to make it any better.
Well, honestly, I'm very sorry because I think you are suffering even more than I am. I'm merely angry
Yes,
and
I can tell.
annoyed. And I have a headache, which annoys me even more.
I have a headache. Do you think because of him?
Probably.
Maybe you should get some more sleep.
No. Sleeping is a bad thing.
No, it's not.
I'll just never sleep again, and we will never have to do this again.
You know what happens if you don't sleep.
I'll go crazy, which I already am.
Indeed. No, you're not crazy.
If I tell anyone what we just went through, they will put me in a straitjacket and call me crazy.
I mean, you have a point there. We met an immortal jackal person, and you chastised him and shouted at him. You were very rude to him. Yes, you are crazy.
I would be curious what Lady Jane would say. That we met one of the ones she's written a lovely book about. And we actually met the Nubians. They are real.
Oh, you mean your look-alike?
Yes.
Well, why don't you tell her?
I have some additions to your description.
Like, she looks like me?
Well, she
points at you?
She can look like anyone she likes.
Well, she can look like anyone she likes.
Or
can
she
have
wants
very different meanings.
to annoy. She likes smoking. She likes lipstick and pretty clothing. She likes hanging around at churches and graveyards.
Well, I suppose this is information that she doesn't have yet.
Yeah, but how do I explain how I know that?
You tell her the truth.
And then when we get off the ship, people with straitjackets are waiting for us.
Maybe you underestimate her a little.
I don't know her very much, so I can't say. I know she's
Well,
an interesting person, but...
That's one way of putting it, yes. So, do you want to talk to Clarice?
I will ring her. Not now, it's too early. Later today, when she should be up, and see if she has time.
Okay, so you get up, get ready. It's 10 o'clock. Do you ring Clarice?
I ring Clarice.
Thompson residence, hello.
Baker here. I would be interested if Clarice is in.
One moment, please.
Thank you.
And it's Heinz.
Yeah.
Clarice answers the phone. Yes, Alice. Clarice here.
I was curious if you would have time today, tomorrow, whenever it fits for you, for a talk.
And 16. You sound strange. What's wrong?
I just have a little bit more information that I need to share.
And you can't do that over the phone?
I would like not to. Because this should be still a time where operators are listening in, shouldn't it?
All right. Shall we meet in the hotel lobby? Or would you like to come to my place?
Whatever is nicer for you. I don't mind coming over.
What would you like? I'm asking you specifically. What would you like?
Then we will come, or I will come over whenever it fits for you.
All right, then I will send Bennu. He can be there in 3/4 of an hour. We can have lunch.
Okay, then let's do that, although we don't have to do lunch. I'm not sure you want to have lunch.
I insist.
Let's meet after lunch.
All right, then let's meet after lunch. He will pick you up at 1:30.
Thank you.
Goodbye. She rings off. Dottie is standing there and she's like, what?
This is not a topic to talk before lunch or during lunch. Also, you don't have to come if you don't want to.
Why? Is this one of the moments when you're trying to be very, very cerebral and you're trying to shut out all of your emotions? Because you're surely behaving like that.
I will just tell her the truth. We'll give her the book back. And case is closed for us. We can't do anything else. And then we will focus on buying what we need for the trip. Maybe we can grab Pamela and get a few more ideas on what we can see along the Nile. And then I am happy when we're on the ship and leaving this godforsaken place.
Alice. What is it? You're not yourself.
I'm just handling the situation the way I know how to handle a situation that is completely out of hand. And I don't want to force you to have this talk with Clarice. So it's up to you if you want to join. I can totally understand if you want. I can totally understand if you don't.
I will be there for you and I will be there with you. All right?
Okay.
Do you want to have lunch here?
Not really. But maybe you should grab some.
Don't stop worrying about me.
I always worry about you and that will never stop.
Okay. I will have something to eat. Because I'm gonna starve otherwise. So she does at the appropriate time make lunch. 27, it's good lunch.
Yeah, it's a good lunch. Alice will
She looks at
definitely eat nothing. She will drink some water and maybe another cup of tea, but...
Okay, so time comes. Bennu is downstairs. He's announced he takes you to the residence of Clarice Thompson.
Yeah.
Heinz opens. He leads you into the salon. Clarice joins you. So, what is it, Alice, that you would like me to know?
Alice, by the way, would have grabbed the book from the hiding place. She would first of all hand over the book again.
Thank you.
Did Heinz leave the room again?
Yeah.
Okay. And Clarice is sitting.
Yeah, she's also offered you a seat. She's sitting nowhere near you. She is very standoffish now.
We found out where the books went.
Very good. That's what I asked. Where did they go?
Your father has them.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that case, they are in heaven if he went there, or in hell if he went there, or if there is nothing, if he achieved nirvana, then they are there. Thank you very much for letting me know.
No further information that you want.
I have no idea what this is, Alice. I have to say that your behavior earlier this morning was... rude would be an understatement. I don't understand it, but I accept it. I accept the fact that you have been spending your time. I will write you a check. Thank you very much.
I don't want your check. If you want the full explanation.
Alice, what you have just said is impossible, and you know it just as well as I do.
It's not impossible. Because...
So what you're saying is that my father, I don't know, is still alive?
He is.
And he's left his family? Is that what you're saying? That's not my father. He would never do that.
He is forced to.
Ah, was he now? So what are you gonna tell me? Military intelligence?
No. Ancient history.
He's turned into a mummy.
No, that would be kind of creepy, and he would have problems talking, quite sure.
I am sorry.
Short summary. Your father got turned into what we learned about as a Nubians, and I know it sounds crazy, but we've seen him and we talked to him. He asked Heinz to grab the books, which he did, which Heinz does not remember. That's why he was behaving so weirdly, because he literally has memory gaps. Your father wanted the books just out of sentimental reasons, to have the book remembering your mother, the books remembering you, remembering other things that are important to him. He's now one of the watchers of a quite large library. If you ever want to look up the Library of Kalaino.
She passed her psychology test. She knows that you believe that you are telling the truth.
So he's actually having a look now over a bigger library he ever could imagine. But he is not human form. So he is not showing up here clearly because he is scared.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that case, all is well, I suppose.
Well, you have to decide what you want to do with the last book, which still not in his possession.
I suppose he will come one day and take it, or ask Heinz to do it. Why don't we just give it to Heinz? She stretches out her hand.
Well, she has the book, clearly. Alice will give it to her.
Thank you.
And we don't need a check for this, because this is something that is quite extraordinary.
Well then, will that be all?
Alice will look at Dottie. Now I know what you mean. It is kind of annoying.
Dottie looks at you, and now I, as the game master, have no idea what you're actually referring
Clarice
to.
is behaving exactly like Alice was behaving. Yeah. Exactly like Alice is behaving. And Alice is annoyed by the behavior that Clarice is showing, so she kind of is self-reflecting.
So I did interpret this correctly. So let's see if Dottie is brighter than me. She is, and she's like, but she doesn't take this as funny. She actually just looks at you very concerned. Yes.
I'm sorry, Clarice, that we have to tell you this, for you, sounding weird story. You asked us to find out the truth.
Yes, and I would have asked you to tell me in a different setting. I would have preferred to solve this in any way, shape, or form on friendly terms. She rings the bell. In steps Heinz. She says, Heinz, if you wouldn't mind, this book, we found it. It needs to go into the library. And if you would ask Bennu to drive round the car, Miss Baker and Miss Williams are leaving. And she gets up and she turns around to you and she says, goodbye. And she walks out.
Alice still has no freaking idea why Clarice is so offended, because Alice has no idea what she did wrong. Just to make that clear. Also, I, as a player, I have no idea what Alice said, what could have annoyed her that much. So I don't have any clue why Clarice is behaving like she is.
It's interesting
completely
because
transparent. Because she was annoyed before, Alice could have told her anything and it would not have changed how Clarice behaved.
it would.
No.
The way what happened was
Clarice
the way
was aggro and against Alice. The moment Alice, after we hung up the phone, that was the point where I could have just stopped, because Clarice was already aggro and Alice should just have not shown up.
Yeah, and it was because Clarice extended an invitation for lunch to you, which you didn't accept in the rudest possible fashion. It was very rude.
Alice, as well as me, did not find it rude.
This is interesting
because she
Clarice
initially
did.
started, dude, how do you want to have it?
And she said, why don't you come for lunch? And then you said, no, this is not for lunch, this is after lunch. You know, this is...
But that's not offensive to say this is not a
it
topic
is,
for
it
lunch.
is to her.
I don't get why. That's a little bit of maybe also how different we brought up. Because for me, it's just a plain open no. It's not a lunch topic. We should meet afterwards. That's not offensive. That's just honest answer to that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So basically,
because
Ben
lunch would
shows
have
up-
been a disaster. Literally, lunch would be an horrific idea, because talking about it before lunch would not work, because then lunch would be a disaster. Talking about the weather beforehand would be a disaster. Talking during lunch about this would be a disaster. So there was no way out of disaster, which we have.
In your mind.
Yes.
In Alice's mind, yes. Okay, so basically, Bennu comes round.
With this story, there wouldn't have been any lunch. And Clarice, for sure, would not have a happy lunch afterwards.
You don't know that.
I highly suspect no.
She passed 2 sanity tests. It wasn't a problem. So basically...
But well, Alice is same as me, like, well, if someone is very pointy about, I am not here for lunch, I will come later, then let her be like that, and she will just take the ride back to the hotel.
She takes the ride back to the hotel. And Dottie sits next to you.
I think this way for Alice it's kind of okay-ish, because it's like, okay, if she doesn't care and if she's behaving weird, then it's like that. But Alice would not say that. That's Alice just in her mind. She's like, okay, then never mind. Sad that we ever tried to help. And so for Alice,
Dottie...
this chapter is basically like another book closed.
You go to the hotel room.
Yep, she will go
because
upstairs.
Bennu is, of course, there.
She will be nice and friendly to Bennu.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So,
giving him a tip, all the things.
Which he doesn't take, because obviously he's not a cab driver. Dottie waits for you to step inside. She closes the door behind you.
Yeah.
Behind the two of you, so she also steps inside.
Alice will walk directly towards the kitchen and make a cup of tea and grab some bread.
Alice.
I have no idea what just happened, and I am just annoyed that we ever offered to help. So next time, just stop me. We are on vacation. We are not helping anyone here. And maybe I should stop this whole PI business. Because Alice. I am obviously a bad people person. I could have told her anything.
Okay, one thing after the other. Why don't you sit down?
Do you want...
And just be quiet for a moment and I'll make the tea. Just sit down and be quiet.
Alice will not move away from the tea kettle. She will make the tea, she will do her thing. I can listen and do tea in parallel.
I will wait until I have your full attention.
Do you want tea as well?
Yes, please.
Also, oh, you had lunch. She will make 2 cups of tea. She will make herself like a quick sandwich, and she will plonk herself at the dining table. And she will just look at Dottie.
Dottie breathes in as if she's going to say something, then she breathes out again. You have so much anger.
Yes.
You are angry at whatever took us. You are angry at her. You are angry at everything.
I'm not angry at her. I was for a short moment, but honestly, she can have her life. I don't care anymore.
All right, number one. This anger that you're feeling isn't good for you.
Might be, but it's there. And all the nice things happening are not helping.
What can I do?
You cannot do anything because you can't stop the insanity life is throwing at me. And us, honestly. I don't know why you are not angry.
I am not angry because the worst thing that could have happened has already happened to me. No, the second worst thing has happened.
I was... Never mind. Yes, a really bad thing happened to you. Really, 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 really horrible thing.
So, everything else, there is only one thing that is worse. And I'll do anything to keep this from happening.
I could find a few things that would be... But nevertheless, yes?
No. This is for me to decide.
Yes,
and
for
for you
sure.
to accept.
For you, there's one more thing more horrible, although I would highly like to fight you on that probably, but I will not, because as you said, it's your decision.
I'm not angry because I don't see myself as a victim or that something is happening to me. I understand that you have this feeling because the things are happening to you.
And I can't do anything against it.
I know. And that is the good thing about being a Catholic. We expect life to be terrible. We expect us to be tested. Because we expect to go to heaven one day.
I don't have problem life throwing normal things at me.
Alice, I don't know why you were chosen, but you were clearly chosen. There are two things you can do now. You can either accept it or you can reject it. But I think even if you reject it like you have been doing, it doesn't change the way the universe looks at you.
I will fight this with every breath I have. Because I don't want this. Other people like Siobhan and the others, they love the gift of being able to do other things. I don't want this. I never asked for it. And I'm still need to find out who I can basically say, return to sender. Keep it.
And that she really laughs. And she says, I really have to say I cherish every moment with you.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoy life. There's a lot out here that I really enjoy. Just not this extraordinary, weird, horrible thing.
What can I do to help you get around this anger?
I don't
it's
think
not good for
there
you.
is a way. It's like I am. It's like I've always been, as it seems. Maybe I will find a way to deal with it. I have no idea how to. Anger keeps me going.
Okay, so last week it was alcohol that kept you going. Today it's anger that keeps you going.
Well, alcohol is helping to forget for a little while, but you quite honestly have a point that it's not really a solution. It's just moving the issue to the next day. Anger has always been the things keep me going. And as I said, I'm not angry at Clarice anymore. I do not understand her. I have still no idea if what we did was helpful or not, which I would like to have known, but well, it's like it is. Every person reacts differently. I just hope she finds a good life and finds a nice thing to do with all the books that her father collected, because they should be open and accessible to everyone. And I hope she can make it work without getting ruined by it. Financially. I only mean financially, because it's quite an undertaking. And as I said,
you will probably be very angry at me for saying this.
I'm not angry at you. I highly doubt I can ever really be angry at you, except maybe for a short burst of moment.
May I ask something of you?
Sure.
I want to invite Clarice.
You can try.
I want to invite her for dinner, and I want you to be there.
I will. I'm not sure she will come, but yes, sure.
Would you do me a favor and try to be not angry?
As I said, I'm not angry at her.
You said that you had just closed another book.
Yes, because there's nothing else I can do.
There is. She's a human being.
She clearly showed me, here's the door, goodbye. She doesn't want me in her life, so I'm just taking it and move on.
Can I ask you to just maybe for one day and one night park that thought and ignore it?
I'm happy if she would show up here, or if I meet her somewhere, I'll be nice and friendly to her. That is not.
But it would not. It would just be superficial. I want you to completely forget what happened.
I can't forget what happened. I can
But
just.
Can you forgive?
There's not really forgive. I just. For me, this is just the same as she did. This is not a functional thing, and we met, we've done a job together, and we move on.
Why do you give up so quickly?
Why should I? For what should I fight? She doesn't need me, I don't need her.
Do you know that?
To be blankly honest, the farther we get away from her, the better for us.
Why?
Reminding of what we went through last night?
But that wasn't her. It was not. Do you think that she sent him after us? I really doubt that.
No, but it's connected to her. If we poke around her more, it might happen again.
So you are afraid?
Also, I think it's the best for all of us if we just go our separate ways.
It's the best for you mean?
If you want to fix something, I will be, as I said, I can be there, I can be friendly and nice, I will not be angry or mean, but I don't think it will lead to anything. We are not important for her.
You don't know that, do you?
Why should we? She met us through Pamela. She has tons of people she knows.
So?
We are just...
How many do you think she has that are like you? Probably...
At least one.
None?
When I think of Pamela, she has one person in her life that's more entertaining than I am, for sure.
Forgive me for saying this. Yes, Pamela is entertaining, but she's not you.
No, we're quite different in some points. But I don't, as I said, I don't think she needs us in her life. I honestly am not sure who needs my chaos in their lives. So.
What?
It's enough that I'm dragging you into all this insanity.
Do you really think that this is the only thing about you? Insanity and chaos?
Well, it's making at least a big part of my life currently.
You know, sometimes I just don't understand why I haven't strangled you already.
I don't know either, to be honest.
Snap out of it, Alice.
I blankly can't. It's like it is.
No. Stop thinking that this is, that you are. Stop thinking about. Stop neglecting yourself. This is what I mean. Stop neglecting yourself. This is what you're doing. You neglect yourself. You put everyone else before yourself. You think that you are somehow meant to save everyone
Nah.
from your life.
Yes.
And that's where you're wrong.
Well, would you wish anything that we are going through on anyone you know and care about? I for sure don't.
No, but this is not what this is about.
It
This is
is.
about people choosing you. People deciding that they want this.
She
And you,
asked me to do a job. We did the job. She did not ask me to be her best friend.
no, and that's, I don't think she would.
So I still don't know what you're trying to fix.
All right, that's fine.
We can, as I said,
No.
if you feel better and if you want to talk to her, we can invite her. As I said, I'm not angry at her.
That's fine. That's fine. No, it's fine. Really.
It's not, but I don't know how to fix, solve, or anything. The situation is like it is.
It is like it is. You are right.
And I have no idea on solution to make it better.
She looks at the ceiling and she says, maybe not everything is a problem that needs solving.
Alice does not look like approving to that point.
And then she basically touches you on the forehead and says, not everything happens in here.
For sure not.
We had this discussion. I'm more here.
I get the more head against feeling part, and I clearly saw today how annoying I am in the way I am.
Did you
Thank you,
now?
Clarice, for basically holding up a mirror in the same behavior. Also showing me that I'm not the only one this weird. I still don't know how to change that. Also, I still have no idea what I would have done differently in this case. If someone tells you go away, you go away.
Does it occur to you maybe that she may be terribly hurt and confused? You've just told her that the father that she buried in England is alive. He can't see her. He's changed into something. I mean, honestly, how strange is that story?
That she did not believe a single word in the way she reacted.
Well, Some people use their brain as a defense.
At the same time, she already was defensive before we even stepped into the house. I could have told her father Santa Claus and she would have been passive-aggressive like she was.
Okay, passive-aggressive she was not. She was openly aggressive and hostile.
So
that wasn't even...
No. Well, she at least kept the social standard. She was not loud, aggressive, yelling, screaming, and being that way. So that's why I said passive-aggressive. She was not like the I will punch you in the face aggressive.
Alice, can I ask you a favor? The next time we ring a client in that matter or in anything similar, I talk to them. Just a suggestion.
As long as you are not making such a talking during lunch, yes.
Alice, it was a social invitation. You sounded like you were concerned from the very beginning.
Well, I was concerned.
Yes, so you put her into a certain frame of mind. She was trying probably to find a way to make this easy on herself because she knew you were going to tell her something horrible.
But lunch...
Alice, there are people who socialize.
I socialize a lot.
No, not like that. You socialize differently. She was trying to find a safe place for herself where she could go through this. And maybe for her, a safe place is to go through the motions of being a hostess, because that's what she knows. She knows how to get the maid and the cook ready. She knows how to get the table laid. She knows exactly what will happen during lunch, and then she has time and space in her head to talk to you and to listen.
Quite selfishly, I would have not known how to get to lunch, even through a lunch.
Why? You spoke freely and clearly.
Yes, as I said, before lunch giving the news would have been absolutely inappropriate.
That's what you think. And I think this is where your thoughts and her wishes and your wishes are in clear conflict.
It's just my upbringing. You don't give such news before lunch. My mother would have strangled me from New York City.
And did you have lunch? No, you didn't. And I'm pretty sure she didn't either. Because she was afraid of what you were going to tell her.
Then we have just a different upbringing.
Yes, you do. All I'm saying is if somebody invites you for lunch and if you know that you're going to give them a very bad piece of news, maybe just play along.
That would have been a horrible lunch where two people would not have touched their plates and it would have been quiet and no one would have said a word.
And you think that this now went better?
Not really, but at least no food was wasted. There was no good way out of it. It was horrific or horrific or horrific. At least the cook did not have to waste all her talent to make a really nice meal that would have maybe just been eaten by you. Because you are good enough to keep the etiquette. Which I for sure wouldn't have. I would have only sipped a bit of water.
Yeah. Yes, you and I are very different.
As I say over and over, I think that's a good thing. I still don't know how...
But you still would never take my advice, that's fine.
No, I take your advice. I'm not sure I can... Well, next time I will ask you first. Clearly, because you understand things a different way. And if we both say it's a good way to go, I think it's quite surely a good way to go. And if one of us has doubts, that's where we should be careful and think about it.
What am I going to do with you?
Strangle me one day? Or punch me in the face? Or leave me? That's option 3, which honestly I think will be the case.
No. Strangle you? Maybe. Punch you in the face?
Probably.
Probably.
Or slap
Leave
me.
you?
At least one of them.
Slap me. Leave you? Never.
We'll see when we're old and grey.
Who's gonna make mocha for you? Because I doubt that you will improve a lot.
That is very mean to say.
And that's why I'm saying it. No, seriously.
We will both be fantastic in doing mocha, and we will find a new thing that we need to learn and get better at. Greek might be a thing to improve or learn, basically, from scratch.
Well, I'm not so sure if I want that.
There are a lot of things out there to learn.
So you stay where you are, because now I'm going to get you something really good. Stay where you are. She gets up.
Alice looks very skeptically after Dottie in which direction she is going.
Close your eyes. No peeking.
Alice is
I see
switching
the second
eye.
eye. Please indulge me.
She will sit down and she will just look basically down at the table, just to make sure that even if she's peeking, she only sees the table.
Okay, so she gets back.
But she's listening in which direction Dottie is going.
Dottie isn't stupid. She comes back and she puts something in front of you.
Mm-hmm. What do I
Nice.
see in front of me?
You see an empty glass. You have a choice now. I can fill this with Turkish delights, the green ones, or I can fill it with whiskey.
I would like more tea and Turkish delights, please.
Or that. She fills the glass to the brim with tea and she gives you Turkish delights.
And she will pass at least half of it over to Dottie.
Dottie doesn't eat them. She says, these are for you.
No, I want to share. We both deserve a treat after the last days.
She takes the treat, but it's not halved. You get 2/3.
As long as she's taking a little bit, Alice will be,
Yeah.
I think, fine.
And then she says, and I don't know what you're going to do for the rest of the day, but I am going to go to the library because I've got to do some research.
The library is a good thing. Bookstore might also be a thing where I want to go.
Okay, so the two of you make your way to the library,
Mm-hmm.
where she will actually do some research and you as well, and you don't need to roll because you do find out what Kalaino actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Kalaino is a word from Greek, ancient Greek, and means literally the Dark One. Kalaino is quite famous and often occurring in Greek mythology. She was one of the harpies whom Aeneas encountered.
Mm-hmm.
She is one of the daughters of Danaus and Crino. She was also an Amazon who was killed by Heracles. She was the daughter of the granddaughter of Lycoris and mother to Delphus, namely Delphi, the Oracle of Delphi, the place named after him by Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also a daughter of Poseidon, but most importantly, Kalaino is also a star in the constellation of Taurus. Remember, you looked out and you only saw the stars? And to give it the Cthulian touch, the Kalaino fragments are a series of occult writings created by H.P. Lovecraft's friend and contemporary August Derleth in his series The Trail of Cthulhu, ascribed to Dr. Laban Shrewsbury, and written from memory after the series of visits to the Great Library of Kalaino, located in a star system in the Pleiades in the constellation of Taurus. Congratulations, you're one of the few people who've made it to the Library of Kalaino. And so the last bit, of course, you don't find in the library, but you do find the rest, and you do find that it's a star, and you kind of you get 5 sanity back for that because you now know what you saw. That doesn't make it any better, but you can kind of connect it to reality. The question is, what do you know? What do you do with your knowledge around the fact that A, this library exists, B, that Anobians exist?
It will just be part of the knowledge that she wants to ignore that she has.
Okay, you can increase your Cthulhu mythos by 5 percentage points.
Let's see. Mythos. Oh, I have 5% now. Yay!
What's the base?
0.
0?
Yeah.
Okay.
You start with 0.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, in that case I think you can give yourself another 5 because I thought you had already increased this because it's basically you have encountered mythos in the past. So let's put it to 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alice would, after the library, she would like to go to a bookstore and find like Greek for beginners if she can get hold of it.
Ancient Greek for beginners, you mean? Yeah. It's not a problem at all. Yeah.
Just for her. At least learning out of this is you can learn new stuff that you don't know
That
yet.
is true. It's essentially an ancient Greek primer that children use in school.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's good enough for children, it's definitely good enough for somebody with a lot higher intellect.
Her idea is just next time that she has something in her hands that at least she has a rough idea what it's about. It's not about reading and speaking it fluently.
The alphabet is going to be very quick. That's usually learned in a day or two if you really put your mind to it.
She will take a piece of time, a little bit here and there, because she knows it's easier to learn bit by bit than just on a small space quickly, because they have a long trip ahead, so she will have time in between. So that's also why she's not picking it from the library. She wants to buy it and take it with her on the trip.
She sees what you're taking, right? What you're buying. So she then goes into a shop and she says, "Don't go away," and she tells you not to come with her, but wait outside.
Thing is, before that, I'm quite tempted that she would also buy a second book, which would be no, forget it. I don't. Egypt, you would not find any proper books probably on that, because hieroglyphs to learn hieroglyphs and things like that. I don't think there would be much books to any around during that time.
Well, I mean, the hieroglyphs have been read, so yes, people can read them. But
I don't think there would really have been a lot of books around it during that time.
They would be. I don't think you would buy it. I think that there are books, but they're probably academic books that you don't buy in bookshops.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So she says, "Don't go away."
She will wait curiously.
Okay, lots of people come up to you and try to sell you stuff. She comes back with a little parcel, and she hands it to you.
I was afraid you would grab postcards. No postcards.
No, do you want me to go back inside and get postcards? I didn't realize you wanted to write some.
No, I would rather pointing out that it would probably be time for you forcing me to write some, but I think we should grab some. A few people at home would maybe enjoy.
Okay, she goes back inside. She comes back with postcards. Do you peek into the parcel?
I will wait. And should I look now or back home?
Please go ahead.
Okay. She will hand the book to Dottie that she can hold it, and then she will open the package.
Okay. So what you see is a leather ledger, a real leather ledger, and you open it. And inside is a writing booklet, a copy book. It's an A4 book, and it's made of really good paper. And the top and back page, like the cover, they are made of this really interesting. It's like Büttenpapier. But the coloring is marmoriert, like this, and it's kind of in a light mauve color with a little bit of green in it. and also a little a fountain pen. So you can use this for your Greek exercises.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a present.
I will use that as travelogue.
All that. And then she produces an inkwell.
Alice will take it. She will, I think, be quite unsure how to handle this because she's not really good at this. Receiving gifts is not the thing for her. But she's thankful and she will be very careful how to handle the things. So she will handle this notebook with utmost care. No scratches, nothing. She will make sure it's safe and sound and well safely transported, but she will use it for sure.
Dottie notices that this is weird for you, but then she thinks of the many times she's given you gifts before. So
she knows that behavior from Alice, I think.
And then the two of you grab your cab and you go back to the hotel.
Yep.
And she says, and tonight we will go downstairs and have dinner there. Make a luck roll.
The dice are still not with me.
Or against you, it depends, or not against you. It depends on what you define as luck.
No, at the moment, I think it's more not with me, but yeah.
You drop your stuff, you get ready. It's, and you have dinner, and you have early dinner because you didn't really have lunch. You just had you just had a sandwich.
I had a sandwich, that's at least.
Yeah, yes. You have the best dinner ever. It's lovely. It's not Dottie, but it's still lovely. You have a lovely mocha if you like it.
Yes.
Because it's made by the cook herself. And that brings us to the end of the library. So you have met your first Cthulian entity, really.
Mm-hmm.
The Anubians are the ghouls of the Cthulhu role-playing game only set in Egypt, so they're determined to be Anubians, and of course the Great Library is also a real Cthulian entity, and it's alive.
Great.
And you've been there, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it because honestly I did not in the slightest have the idea that he could be one of the Anubians. It never crossed my mind that he could still be out there and he was one of them. I was more like they were the ones that killed him. That was more the route, which they kind of did, but I never thought further on like that. So for me it was like they killed him, and in this book must be something that tells something that no one should know. Which is not true. The book that we have is kind of not important to mankind.
Well, I mean, the book itself is, I mean, this is of course taken from The Name of the Rose from Umberto Eco, because that's the big book that's missing.
It's not a special book. So the book itself, that the one that we have, is not a content that shows anything really. It's sentimental reasons why he wants it.
No, the book that you have, yes, but the book that the book without the head, that's a very important book because it does not exist anymore, and he's trying to preserve it. And I mean, in The Name of the Rose, that's the one that this guy is also trying to hide because he believes it deals with laughter, and laughter is ungodly. So
the thing is, if who would have just taken that book, because that was the only one he really wanted to preserve. The others were more for sentimental reasons. The ones that stuck out was the ones for sentimental reasons. The one book, probably no one really would have even realized it was missing. Because Clarice has no connection to that one book. She only has connections to all the other books that went missing, where she's like, why? Because it's also weird picks. It's really weird random picks, so that is really something. So I never gone that way. I was always trying to figure out why are Nubians there and the books, and just to get an angle, but I was clearly on the idea the one book that is missing has some content, maybe about the Nubians or anything like that would hurt them if mankind would read it, or I don't know, something like that was my road I was on. So like, he's there, oh boy, I did not think about that option.
So this whole thing with the red herrings worked, didn't it?
It did completely work.
Okay, good. So it's a good thing that you didn't find out what was going on until the very end,
Yeah.
because that was my. And by the way, the reason why he kidnapped you, because that was meant to be done completely differently.
That was the one I wrote.
Was because you botched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the idea of how this was going to go down was going to be very different. I don't think. I mean, I was a bit shocked that you were so angry at him. I didn't foresee that at all. I was like, oh my god, this is terrible.
I think Alice had a big amount of PTSD by, I think, our dear lady intruding her life.
Yes.
I don't think the first adventure, the one with even though she killed someone mainly by accident by that, and it was crazy, but it was not feeling as intrusive on Alice's life, but someone else just coming in, just doing what they want.
Yeah.
And also showing up as her, stealing her lipstick, all these tiny things, I think at least they left a big mark of being like, there's another one intruding my life. And it will probably go on like that, because there's a mix between being afraid because she can't control, being annoyed because she can't control, and the annoyed leads quite quickly for her to anger, because that's the way, like, get the fuck away with me. That's the way to, like...
Yeah, because I was sitting there going, oh my god, this isn't going well. Where is this anger coming from? I was like... I was actually quite terrified.
Then the little mix of another man that wants to push on me, that I need to do a decision that they should do and not me. I think a little bit of Matthew is, I think, the one thing she's still... I think it's not angry. She's just still darn hurt on the way he handled this. And she knows she wasn't perfect, but she treated it in a typical Alice way that Matthew should know by now. And he did not behave like a typical Matthew.
Did he not?
Not in her way. But they never had this situation, that's the point. So it's again how everyone thinks, what everyone else is thinking. And yeah, Matthew's still there. It's still hurt. That's also why she still have... I'm still not sure if she will ever read that letter. I'm not sure. At the moment, she will not touch it. I'm also not sure if she will take it on a trip or if she will leave it there.
Well, I mean,
sure.
you can. I mean, the suite is yours, and it will not be open while you're gone.
Yeah,
so it doesn't really.
Although,
I mean, it's your decision because you have plenty of things.
Yeah,
there
although it's easy to take with us because it's taking a lot of space. So I'm not sure if it will be on the packing list or not, because it's quite. I think everything around Matthew is at the moment more gut feeling in the situation on how it would be handled or not handled.
Okay, cool.
So it's interesting. I hope for everyone watching it was interesting as well. I would be curious if you guys had up front the idea that he is an Anubian or not, just to be curious.
Let us know. Let's see what people say, and then we will talk to you again, and this is going to continue in 2 weeks, and until then, we wish you a pleasant rest of the evening, day, morning, whenever you're listening, and stay safe.
Stay healthy. Bye.